Well, hey everybody, it's the 10th of February 2025. I'm Jan Erickson and this is As Above, So Below. Well, I hope you had a good weekend. We've got, looks like another week of the really cold weather, but I think by the following week we're going to, maybe by Saturday or Sunday, we're going to start to rise in temperature. So hopefully we're on the downslope of this and the snow will leave my driveway so my husband doesn't have to get the snowblower out. Anyway, I wrote a thing called Now in the Future. It was a two-card tarot reading. One card for now, what's going on now, and one card that may represent the future. It was the two cards I drew were the Emperor reversed. Both were major arcana cards, by the way, and the other one was the Lovers. Together, you come up with 10 in terms of the numerology, which is endings and beginnings, and if you reduce it to 1, it's new beginnings. And so the Lovers card would represent that. If you want to read it, it's over at the blog at Stepping Aside, and the web address is imsteppingaside.com, but I'm going to put a link to it. If you click on more below the video here, a box will open, as you know, if you've done that before, and right up at the top it's going to show a link to that tarot reading. So if you're interested in looking at that, I'm probably going to make it a sticky on the blog, so it'll be the first post there that you'll come to with all the newer stuff below it, including the write-up for the reading notes here for the reading. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. We've got Perth Row. It was interesting because last week we had Tiwas for both days, Monday and Thursday. But we have Perth Row today, which is the 14th rune of the Elder Futhark. It means fate or chance. It's essentially, you can think of it as they say it's the cup from which dice or runes are thrown. Or the runes are cast up, and directionality matters with it. This can be a cauldron. This can be open to birth. This is also open to birth. This is death or new beginnings and endings, maybe. But it's when I pull Perth Row, it can be about the womb. It can be about understanding fate, cause and effect, synchronicity. It can indicate divination. But for me, what generally comes into my mind when I see Perth Row is who's controlling my fate today. So in the case of the reading, who's controlling your fate today? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be ego? Is it going to be higher awareness? That's just in keeping with the As Above, So Below message, essentially, of each reading I do here. Are we looking at higher awareness? Are we looking at spirit? Are we looking at the control of ego, which, tends to lead to no good, so, as they say. So with Perth Row representing the higher awareness side and the 4 geomancy runes I'm throwing down, we'll create a geomancy rune out of it. I'll put them in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. We're looking at Pur. Pur and Puella or Puea are the youthful energies of the Geomancy rune set. Whereas Puella would be little girl energy, Pur, there he is, would be little boy energy. And so you're looking at youthful energy that's somewhat scattered and a lack of impulse control here. But the part about Pur is it can be very unstable. It can be prone to conflict. The impulsiveness is pretty energetic. It's a high energy type of lack of impulse control. I mean, granted, the fact it's youthful, so it's not as bad as something like, say, Rubius, for example, which is a total misuse of force, and it might be psychopathy and all of that at its worst expression. This is just a little boy energy that's out of control, and so you're going to let that control your fate, or are you going to rise to the occasion and say, no, I might want that impulsive purchase today, but I don't have the money for it. So the adult side comes in, or the higher self side comes in and says, no, we have to wait for that. We're going to have to plan for that. You have to set money aside for that. That's sort of experience maybe today. But again, who controls your fate? Is it a lack of impulse control, or that's doing it, which is ego? or is it the adult within, the higher awareness within, that's suggesting something else? So we'll start out with that, and we'll see what the cards have to say. They may take us in a slightly different direction, but we'll see. If Perthro is talking about healing at all, then you could be trying to get out there before you're ready. In other words, if you're not really healed yet, you might want to say you had a knee operation or something, and you want to get out there and do some walking that you're not ready to do, that's long distance. You're not ready to do that. So that might impulsively, you might want to do that, but you can't. So it could have something to do with that maybe, but we'll see. That type of an experience. Well, we have one from the Major Arcana, the Empress. We have the Five of Wands, and we have the Six of Cups. So the will and emotions are being expressed. Emotions also within the Empress. But the Empress is she's the mother aspect of the Major Arcana, if you will. She's you see her sitting on her kind of a chaise lounge there in a way, but it's her throne. You see the crown of Merkabah's here. When you look at, and then of course you see the heart-shaped shield and the glyph for Venus there, and you see wheat growing and abundance all around her. You see a river that winds around and comes down like in a waterfall to the pool below there. But what I've always found interesting about the Merkabah crown here with the Empress, I just want to mention this. You've got the Fool, which is the soul, takes its leap into reality, takes its leap into form. And through the Magician, it manifests its physical reality, its body, the world around it, and all of that. And through the High Priestess, it brings in the subconscious realm and intuition. And so you have that balance between physicality and intuition, essentially. What you see, the reactive ego versus maybe the higher self, acting as intuition, saying, well, maybe not so much. But if the soul is or if the Fool acts as the vehicle for the soul, then that's a Merkabah. And so when you get then to card 3, after the High Priestess, the Empress gives birth to creation. And you can see, creation as represented by all the Merkabahs on her crown. And so once all of that is, the Fool has manifested through the Magician, brought the subconscious realm into its awareness through the High Priestess, then it manifests through the Empress into physical reality. So just, I don't know, keep that in mind. Before we go any further, what did I do with there it is, my calculator. So we've got 14 with, did I say 14? Yeah, 14 with Perthro. We have a 3 with the Empress. We have the 5 with the Five of Wands and the 6. That's 28. So that reduces to 10, which reduces to 1, which again, new beginnings. If you're used to acting impulsively and you have a problem with that, it could be, a new beginning there where you're starting to think a little bit more and analyze just exactly, excuse me, just the effects of what that's going to be on your life. I don't think that COVID has ever let go of my throat. Because since I had it, and I didn't have a fever, I barely, it felt, I had it. My husband was a little worse. He had one night of coughing, but then he got better. And the same with me. I just didn't have the bad night of coughing. But since then, my throat's always has been real scratchy, and so I have to do a lot of honey and ginger to help with that, and which does, but I haven't done that yet this morning, so I apologize for my voice here. But anyhow, again, with the Empress, we're talking about love and fertility, and again, the womb, which is going to also connect with Perthro here, because it also talks about the womb. But again, with the womb, it implies new beginnings, right? New creation. But with her, there's abundance. She's receptive. There's beauty. There's success there with her. Um, so overall, when you contain all of that energy, that idea of containing the impulsivity within, there's a more deliberate invocation, if you will, of something. And so Perthrow, I think, is also talking about that, where you're really aware of cause and effect, and what's going to be the impact of the lack of impulse control. What is going to be the I mean, if there's aggressiveness associated, if there's an instability associated with it, what's going to be the impact? What will you then create from that that's going to be positive? Well, the Five of Wands seems to suggest that there's some creative conflict here. This could be part of the lack of impulse control talked about by Poor. But at the same time, one thing I want you to pay attention to with this card is that nobody is hitting one another. It's almost like there's just all this chatter, all this, expression of ideas, and, they're doing it all at the same time. So either something has to change with the five, because five is about change, it's about protection, innovation, and variety, all of that. But maybe there's been something significant where lots of ideas are coming into play of what to do about something. There could be that. And so if the manifestation is a lack of impulse control, maybe everybody's trying to figure out a way to get around that. But I don't know for sure about that. To me, this is just everybody's talking at once, and everybody's expressing their ideas and their creativity all at once, and nobody's really listening or paying attention to one another. And so that may be part of the lack of impulse control, where you can't just sit down and listen, say, well, what idea do you have, and what creative solution do you have, and then you in a group, right? That's not happening with these boys here. They're just, again, this could represent Poor, because these are young guys. They could be boys where, again, they all want to have a seat at the table, but they can't really express themselves in a way that's going to be coherent so that everybody understands what they're talking about. Because maybe, then the next ideas build off of the first one, you see. So it doesn't have to be, separate ideas. It could be a culmination of everything that manifests into something else and something new. And with the one numerology for this, there could be something new that's starting to gel, that's starting to form from the disparate voices here. That's going to manifest some change. And so I don't want to, I'm gonna temporarily align it with Poor, as this is an example of what happens in creation when you don't listen to one another and everybody's just talking at the same time. But we'll wait and see here, because I may want to draw a fourth card. Here you have the Six of Cups. Now, the Six of Cups, things are a lot calmer, aren't they? Here you have 6 chalices filled with greenery and lilies, a lily in each one. Again, lily is about purity. It's about newness. And again, with the one numerology for the reading, something needs to gel into something more agreeable here and shared. The 6 indicates empathy. It indicates guidance and assistance. And so I'm wondering if the movement from the lack of impulse control, or the expression of a lot of ideas and solutions, has brought us to the place where we need to just settle in and share something with love with one another. Having that interaction be about love and empathy and compassion, as it is here. You see, again, with all 6s, you have a lack of equalness. You have the larger cup here, the smaller ones here. That could be an illusion, though. But here you have the taller person here handing a chalice off to a smaller person. And so there is that sense of inequality here with the 6s. But at the same time, when you're sharing something in a loving way, it's not like the 6 of Pentacles, where the 2 guys are on the ground, and the man of means is trying to with the holding the scales kind of behind his back in a way, or off to the side out of his peripheral vision, and then he's throwing some coins in another guy's hand, and while the other guy's holding his hand out. So you see the differences in station there. But here it's, I have something to give and I'm going to give it to you and you don't have it. I'm going to bless you with something that I've grown and I want to share this with you. You see the X right here, which is Gebo in the runes, in the Elder Futhark, and that's balanced energy exchange. It means the gift of balanced energy exchange, or the gift of reciprocity, and I just think that here, if you're looking, and I think I do want to draw one more card just to be sure about this. But if you're looking at the Empress in terms of what you're going to manifest, well, are you going to manifest something where nobody's listening to one another and it's all impulsivity that's being on display? Or are you going to manifest something that is based on love and compassion? One seems like it's ego and the other seems like it's higher awareness. So I don't know. Let me do a fourth card here, though. I'm going to take the 13th one, just for complete randomness. Well, here we have another. And again, it's the 14th card of the major arcana. So, a 5 numerology ultimately. So here you're talking about moderation and temperance. You're balancing will with emotion essentially here. And again, you see here the path goes up between the two peaks on the mountains here, and you see the sun rising. And so a new day is upon us here, where you are better able to manifest your experiences in moderation and in temperance, versus, everybody being all over the place here. Indicating that, a change needs to happen. If you look at 5 as protection, though, each one may be trying to, in their expression, protect their own creative solutions or own creative ideas, or what they have to offer essentially to the conversation. If we're going to then add plus 5, plus 14, we'll go plus 14. That comes to 42 or 6. So we're looking again, embrace your fate in terms of, and manage your own fate based on the amount of compassion that you express to others. I saw something from Buddhism yesterday where, and I can't recite it because I don't remember exactly what it said, but the gist of it was, well, the first thing is practice compassion. If you're feeling bad about yourself, practice compassion. Everything was compassion, essentially, and empathy. And when you do that, it comes back to you, but it just doesn't come back to you. It transforms you. Whatever, upset you're feeling, however bad you might feel, you start practicing compassion to others, and suddenly you become that. And whatever you were feeling, sort of gets put in its place or falls away, and it's replaced by compassion, not only for others but for the self. And so when I see a 6, I think shared path, I think compassion. But let me do this one more time. We have 14 with Perthro, 3 with the Empress, 5 plus 6 plus 14 again here with the Temperance. Yeah, 42. So I'm going to kind of put this on here too, with 6, with this additional card. I think that again, when you're looking at who controls your fate, Temperance is defining it as you do, and it's managing or finding balance between will and emotion, grounding yourself, keeping yourself grounded in reality. You look at here. You've got 1 foot in the pond and 1 foot on the ground. And so then you've got the glyph for fire here inside the glyph for earth. And so there's a sense of grounding. And since you're pouring water from one chalice to the other, I have always interpreted that as balancing will with emotion. But there's a sense of groundedness here where you are more grounded than say, a lack of impulse control is going to give you. And so I think all that drawing another card did, especially having it be a one from the major arcana, which is a soul archetype card, I think we're looking at something that's reinforced where we're going to manifest whatever we need to manifest here. And if the cautionary tale is a lack of impulse control, we want to make sure that we balance will, which could get away from us and show a lack of impulse control, with emotion, which is compassion, say, and empathy, and bring that into a better temperate balance with the card of temperance, which then allows us to offer, instead of always asserting our own beliefs. Instead, we're offering something. We grew it, we created it, and now we're offering it to someone else. So if you want to look at the chalices as chalices of love and new beginnings, maybe it's a start into some other area, which we had, of course, with the one initially. Maybe it's a new beginning into another phase of life where you are approaching people with compassion and empathy and the idea of a shared higher purpose, maybe. So, and in a sense, it kind of reflects the 2-card reading I did on the weekend that I was telling you about initially. Now and the future, kind of going in that direction of where we learn a very valuable lesson with the Emperor that's reversed. That card came out reversed in the reading I did, and we learn a valuable lesson with that. And then we realize that in the future we have to take a different path, that involves each other. So who knows, maybe this reading's just reinforcing that. But it just seems like today, if you're having issues with impulse control, realize that that's something that's probably not going to get you what you want. And that if you decide to control that fate by instead having compassion and empathy for yourself and for others, making sure that the will is balanced with the exercise of will, or a lack of impulse control is balanced with compassion, so you don't go out and go on a spending spree when you don't have the money. That could be one thing, really a personal one. And then or you go and you do something that's impulsive, that involves other people, that impacts them. Thinking about others and thinking about your own long-term survival, essentially financially, maybe, might be one way to look at it. Having that compassion for a future effect, essentially. Perthrow can mean that. And healing something, that within, that allows you to then think about other people and think about the impact of what you do, and the fate or the cause and effect that comes from that. Both with respect to your own life, and if it's something that's going to impact other people as well. So just sort of a thinking day, maybe. I don't know. But especially if you're having, these impulses that you're wanting to do things that aren't really going to be good in the long run. Just think about it in terms of balancing will with emotion, and grounding yourself in something that's actually going to be positive, and manifest a new day for you. Something new. Then, because especially if you have a trouble with a lack of impulse control, and people do. Some people, they just act on impulse, and then all of a sudden they find themselves in a place that they do not want to be in. So, and maybe it impacts others. Maybe it impacts your family. Or if it's a work thing, maybe if you're the boss, if you're the owner of the company, you act impulsively, and then suddenly you don't have payroll. You can't make payroll. So you spent all your money, and there went the money to pay your help, so your staff. So it's that sort of thing, I think, here for today's reading. Anyhow, for a Monday. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. It's kind of interesting that it's the let's see, I put here, oh, it's the 10th day, yeah. And so, see, that's also a new beginning day. So there seems to be like for the day itself, for the numerology for the day itself, there seems to be an alignment there too. I think there's something else here. And there is, so it's a new day, and to maybe think differently, and than maybe how you might impulsively think. So anyhow, thanks for watching. And again, click below the video more, the word more, and it'll bring up that box. If you want to look at that reading I did, I'm going to have a link to that there, just probably below the link to the blog itself. So anyhow, thanks for watching, and come back again on Thursday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.